Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Life Story Africa training this week. We are going to work on having these trainings once a week, a place for you to come and ask your questions and to see where we can help you and to see where you are stuck and help you to be unstuck. And we have our coaches. Hopefully our coaches will be doing some of the trainings in the future as well. We will take turns. They are really awesome. We have awesome coaches. Christine is one of our coaches. So she is on this call. And I want you to get to know the coaches well, because they really know how to work their life story, and they are also happy and excited to help you. So I'm excited for that. All right, we have a few people still trying to come in, but we will go ahead and start. Today, I'm going to do a training from the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I will turn on my camera long enough to show you what it looks like. Here you go. It looks like this, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And the reason I like to start with this book is because the woman who wrote it, she has some very good ideas about the best way to go about life. But also, because I think it's important for us to get used to looking at books and looking at the great minds. If we want to develop our mind to have great ideas and be able to do amazing things, we also study people with great ideas who do amazing things. And many of them have stories that are written in these books. And so this is our first training where I'm going to be introducing you to this woman, Florence Shinn, and she wrote this book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. So I just want to share with you some of the things that I learned from this book. One thing she does very well is she uses affirmations when she is writing her life story. So we will go into that in a little, but first I want to just start with some of these things that she has written. And she says, most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle, it is a game. So I just am wondering, how many of you have sometimes in your life felt like it's a battle? You know, maybe things are not going the way that you want, or maybe, you know, we have a lot of old stories about how difficult things are and how much hard work and things don't work out, and it feels like life is a battle. But she is saying it's not a battle, it's a game. She says it is a game, however, which cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. So basically, she's saying you can't play the game of life well if you don't know the rules. Have any of you tried to play a game when you don't know the rules? Okay, I'm just going to mute everyone. So if you have something you want to say, you'll have to unmute yourself, okay? Because that way everyone will be able to hear. Okay, so the game. If you are going to win when you play a game, the first thing you have to do is you have to know the rules. And she says that Jesus Christ taught that it was a great game of giving and receiving. Those are the spiritual laws, some of the spiritual laws. It's a game of giving and receiving. And she uses the example of the scripture, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This means that whatever man sends out in word or deed will return to him. What he gives, he will receive. So I think we have had that kind of experience. If he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are taught also that the imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. So what is the imaging faculty? Maybe Christine, maybe you can explain to us a little about when she talks about the imaging faculty, what does that mean?
Vicky, can you just explain it?
Yeah, okay. So the imaging faculty is just like in our imagination, when we create a vision in our mind, right? We create a vision in our imagination. That's what it means. So having a strong imagination. See, she calls it the imaging faculty, but it just means imagination. Having a strong imagination is very important in the game of life. And she says, this means that what man imagines sooner or later comes to pass. And then she gives an example. I know of a man who feared a certain disease. It was a very rare disease and difficult to get, but he pictured it continually and read about it until it manifested in his body and he died, the victim of distorted imagination. So he was imagining the wrong thing. He was imagining the thing that he does not want. He was imagining the thing that he was afraid of. And he spent all of his time in his fears, imagining the thing he feared. And it has come to pass. So we see, to play successfully the game of life, we must train the imagination. A person with an imagination trained to image only good or imagine only good brings into his life every righteous desire of his heart. Health, wealth, love, friends, his highest ideals. Okay. She talks about the 3 departments of the mind. And if you are taking notes, you can even write them down. The subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious. The subconscious is simply power without direction. So the subconscious just means there's like power in our thoughts that we don't know that we are even thinking. It's like steam or electricity, and it does what it is directed to do. It has no power of induction. So it doesn't have any power to steer itself, to move itself one way or another way. It will just go the way that the conscious mind steers it. So she says, whatever man feels deeply or images clearly or imagines clearly is impressed upon the subconscious mind and carried out in the most detail. Oh, this one is interesting. I love this book because she gives so many examples and tells so many stories to go with it. She says, for example, a woman I know, when she was a child, always make believe that she was a widow. So she pretended to be a widow when she was just a child. She dressed up in black clothes, wore a long black veil, and people thought she was very clever and amusing. They thought she was funny. But she grew up and married a man with whom she was deeply in love. And in a short time, he died, and she wore black and a sweeping veil for many years. The picture of herself as a widow was impressed upon the subconscious mind, and in due time worked itself out regardless of the havoc. The thing that she didn't, again, the thing she did not want was the thing that came to pass because she spent her time thinking about the things she did not want. Okay. She talks about, so we talked about the subconscious mind. She also talks about the superconscious mind, which is the God mind that's within each of us. The realm of perfect ideas is how she describes it. The perfect pattern. There is a place that you are to fill and no one else can fill. Something you are to do which no one else can do. It's your mission, it's your purpose, it's your passion. There is a perfect picture of this in the superconscious mind. There's a perfect picture of what you are to do, the work that God gave you to do, the thing that you are working on. I call it the soul assignment, your soul assignment, the thing that God has sent you, put you in this world to accomplish and to do and to help people. It usually flashes across the mind as an unattainable ideal. Like you can't possibly do it. It would be impossible. It would be impossible. But in reality, it is man's true destiny that is sent to him from God, which is already within himself. Okay. Okay, so anybody have any thoughts about that so far? Anything has come to your mind? Next, we are going to talk a little bit about the law of prosperity. She says, one of the greatest messages given to mankind through the scriptures is that God is man's supply, and that man can release through his spoken word all that belongs to him by divine right. He must, however, have perfect faith in his spoken word. And when we're talking about spoken word, for LIFEstory, we are also using our written word, because our written word is even stronger than our spoken word, right? So she quotes Isaiah from the Old Testament, the scripture, "My word shall not return unto me empty, but shall accomplish that whereunto it is sent." So we know that whatever words that we speak, they have a strong force, a strong power to shape and to create those things that we are thinking about. She tells another story. A woman came to me in great distress and said she was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. She knew no way of getting the money and was in despair. I told her God was her supply and that there is a supply for every demand. So if you are taking notes, you can write that down. There is a supply for every demand. Every need that you have, there is a supply for it somewhere, right? And through these principles, we are learning how to find that supply, no matter how small it is, no matter how large it is, no matter how big, there is a supply for that need. She says, so I spoke the word, I gave thanks. So this is how she spoke the word. I want you to listen to this very carefully, because I want you to do this in your life every day. I spoke the word, I gave thanks that the woman would receive $3,000 at the right time in the right way. I told her she must have perfect faith and act her perfect faith. The 15th came, but no money had materialized. She called on the phone and asked what she was to do. I replied, it is Saturday, so they won't sue you today. Your part is to act rich, thereby showing perfect faith that you will receive it by Monday. She asked me to lunch with her to keep up her courage. When I joined her, I said, this is no time to economize. Order an expensive lunch. Act as if you have already received the $3,000. Because otherwise she will be feeling in her body, she'll be feeling like, oh, I don't have it, right? I don't have it. So that's what the feeling will be in her body. So then that is the thing that she is making to come true. She says, all things whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. You must act as if you have already received. And that is why we write our life story the way we do, because sometimes it's hard to imagine and hold the feeling in our body for a long time, but you can imagine it and then write it down and allow your words on the paper to hold it for you while you are working on changing your mind about it. She says, if one asks for success and prepares for failure, he will get the situation he has prepared for. And I think this is one of the big mistakes that people make when writing their life story. They will write down success, but then they will prepare for failing on accident. They don't mean to do it. They think they are still preparing for success, but they have switched. So through these trainings that we will be doing every week, we will be teaching how to make sure that you are actually preparing for success, even as you are asking for it. She says, man must prepare for the thing he has asked for when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight. So you must prepare for the thing that is coming. This reminds me of the story about Timothy and his roof, right? Right? He was worried that he didn't have money to put the roof on his house, but was he preparing for the roof? He was not preparing for the roof at all. He was preparing to not have the roof. And so it didn't come. It didn't come. And as soon as he prepared for the roof and he finished the wall to the level of the roof, then immediately the roof came as soon as he was ready for it. But for so many months, even a couple of years, he didn't prepare for it. Okay, so I just have one more thing to share about the power of the word, and then I'm going to share some of the affirmations, and you can write some of them down if you want. You can write them down and then you can add them into your life story. Some of my favorite ones. I'm just going to share with you my favorite ones. But first, this is what she says about the power of the word. So remember, this book is The Game of Life and How to Play It. And this is the part about the power of the words that we say. Okay. She says, a person knowing the power of the word becomes very careful in his conversation. If we understand how important our words are, we will become very careful with how we use them, right? We will become very careful with how we use them because we will realize that anything that we say is going to become true. And so we will only speak of the things that we want to have happen, the good things we want to have happen, right? I love this part. Through his spoken word, man is making laws for himself. Through the words that we say, we are actually making laws for ourselves. And she gives the example of a man who says, I always miss the car, and it invariably pulls out just as I arrive. So he will always, like when he's trying to take a taxi or maybe a trotro or yeah, whatever, like the van. We have people from all different countries on this call, so they all call it something different. Matatu, right? Matatu. Yes, okay. So, but then his daughter said, I always catch a car. It's sure to come just as I get there. And this occurred for years. Every time he went to catch a car, it would always drive away. And every time she went to catch a car, it would arrive just as she did. Okay, so she talks about mistakes people make. Instead of making their affirmations and looking to God for success and prosperity, they will just, let's see if I can go back. Okay, she says, 2 men in my class had great success in business for several months, and then suddenly everything was spoiled. So we tried to analyze the situation, and I found instead of making their affirmations and looking to God for success and prosperity, they had each bought lucky money. I said, oh, I see. You have been trusting in the lucky monkeys instead of God. Put away the lucky monkeys and call on the law of forgiveness, for man has power to forgive or neutralize his mistakes. But she says, once you put the one and the power of God behind it, the object simply gives, it will come to pass. Okay. Okay, this is a good one too. Someone has said that courage contains genius and magic. Face a situation fearlessly, and there is no situation to face. It falls away of its own weight. Thus, the invisible forces are ever working for man who is always pulling the strings himself. What does she mean when she says pulling the strings himself? It means like he is pulling the strings like a puppet, right? He is making the puppet move. He is creating the movement based on his own words and his own thoughts, even though he does not know it. So because of this power of words, whatever man voices, he begins to attract, and people who continually speak of disease invariably attract it. Right? Okay. Talk about what we want, not what we don't want. And then she says, talking about heal, bless, and prosper. Just always making sure that we are in good vibration. We are attracting the things that we want to create. Okay. Any questions about that? She has some very great chapters in this book. Let's see. I'm going to share some affirmations now. So you can write some of these down. I'm just looking for where the best place to start. Oh, this is a great one for, we have come through this time of COVID where everyone was afraid of being sick or getting sick. Especially, I know in the US, people had so much fear about getting sick. And so she's talking about illness and germs, like a virus or germs. And she says, one can only contract germs or virus while vibrating at the same rate as the germ or the virus. And fear drags men down to the level of that germ or virus. Of course, the disease-laden germ is the product of carnal mind. And also, she says, germs do not exist in the superconscious or divine mind, therefore the product of man's vain imagination. So that's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that she's saying, if you are going to attract germs or sickness or virus, it's because you are at the same level, you are vibrating at the same place that they are. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give some of my favorite affirmations. Okay, this is one, I actually wrote this on a card and I read it every day. I go over it and it says, infinite spirit, or you can say God, or however you want to address it. Open the way for my right home, my right friend, my right position, my right business, like whatever it is that you are looking for or that you are needing at this time of your life. Open the way for that right thing. I give thanks. It now manifests under grace in a perfect way. So that way you're always just imagining that everything that is like, that's the perfect thing for you that you are looking for. You are just giving thanks that it has already come for you and that it comes to you at the perfect time in the perfect way. And once you can just trust that process, you don't worry about things anymore because you know that once you have put in your order, just like at a restaurant or at some place to eat, as soon as you put in your order, you just know it will come to you. You don't have to stress and worry and think, oh, it won't come. You just put out your order by your thoughts and then they will come to you. She tells a story of someone that was looking for $1,000 and she says, infinite spirit, I give thanks that the $1,000, which is mine by divine right, is now released and reaches me under grace in a perfect way. And you can, in your life story, you can make any kind of change to that so that it applies for you. She said the simple rules of the game of life. Here they are. The simple rules are fearless faith. You can write these down too. If you are taking notes, you can write down these simple rules for the game of life. Fearless faith, non-resistance, which means you're not fighting, and love. Okay? Fearless faith, non-resistance, and love. So if we make sure that we are always in those vibrations, in those places, those are the rules for the game of life. Okay, so here are some simple affirmations. You can write these in your life story. Here's one for prosperity. God is my unfailing supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly under grace in perfect ways. Right? God is my unfailing supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Let's see. Here's one for faith. If you are working on creating more faith. As I am one with God, I am one with my good. For God is both the giver and the gift. I cannot separate the giver from the gift. So these are things you can write in your life story because they are in the present tense. They are written like they are happening now. Right? Oh, this one is really good. I love this one. And if you can't write them down fast enough, this is why we will have the replay, and I will upload the replay to YouTube so you can go back and you can watch it, and then you can just press pause. You can just press pause while you are writing it down, or rewind or anything. So, okay, here's the next one. Divine love now dissolves and dissipates every wrong condition in my mind, body, and affairs. Divine love now dissolves and dissipates every wrong condition in my mind, body, and affairs. That's a good one. Here's one for eyesight. My eyes are God's eyes. I see with the eyes of spirit. I see clearly the open way. There are no obstacles on my path. I see clearly the perfect plan. And, I would be careful about even saying no obstacles, because then that is like using a negative in what you write. So you could just say, I see clearly the open path. I see clearly the perfect plan. Okay. Let's see. I now let go of worn out conditions and worn out things. And I don't know if I would use this in my life story, because again, it's talking about things that are worn out, but it says divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs. I make all things new. The four winds of success now blow to me my own. From north, south, east, and west come my endless good. That's a good one. So these are some affirmations for success. Endless good now comes to me in endless ways. I give thanks for my whirlwind success. I sweep all before me, for I work with the Spirit and follow the divine plan of my life. I am awake to my good and gather the harvest of endless opportunities. That's another good one. I am awake to my good and gather the harvest of endless opportunities. This one is good because sometimes we do have opportunities around us all the time, and we have a lot of goodness, and sometimes we are just asleep to it, so we might not see it, right? So I think if you write something like this in your life story, I am awake to my good, I gather the harvest of endless opportunities, you will start to see more opportunities, and you'll be awake to things that are around you all the time, and you will notice things in a different way. I like this one too. I now draw to myself my own, which means I don't need something from someone else. I don't need something that someone else has, because that belongs to them. I just need what is rightfully mine, the thing that rightfully belongs to me. I now draw to myself my own. My power is God's power and is irresistible. Here's another, similar to the one before. Divine order is established in my mind, body, and affairs. I see clearly and act quickly, and my greatest expectations come to pass in a miraculous way. Ooh, I love that one. That's a good one. I'll read it one more time. I see clearly and act quickly, and my greatest expectations come to pass in a miraculous way. Who needs more miracles? Like, we all need more miracles in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just think what will happen if you put that in your life story, right? Divine order is now established in my mind, body, and affairs. I see clearly and act quickly, and my greatest expectations come to pass in a miraculous way. Then I guarantee you, if you write this in your life story, you are going to see more and more miracles show up in your life every single day. Because you have written it and you have started to raise your own vibration to be in a place to receive more miracles, right? Okay, this is another good one. There is no competition on the spiritual plane. What is rightfully mine is given me under grace. And this is important because maybe we should do a separate training on this, about the difference between creating on the creative plane and being on the competitive plane. Because when you are in the creation plane, you can create anything that you want. If you're in competition, that means you have to take it from someone else, or you are afraid someone will take it from you. Right? And so it's one of the things that makes it so people, they might not be happy for you for your success because they are in competition. Like, they only see that competition with you. But if you are in creative space, then you won't take anything from someone else. You will only be creating the things that belong to you already by your divine right, under grace, right? All right, let's see. This one is great. The tide of destiny has turned, right? And I love this because sometimes it might feel like we are going a certain way and we want to turn the way it is going. I call it a momentum swing. Like, if you are watching a football game, the two teams, they might have, like, one team will be winning, coming up on the other, and the one that is under, they are looking for a momentum swing to turn the tide of the game, right? So this is what it's talking about. The tide has turned. The tide of destiny has turned, and everything comes my way. So instead of chasing things or feeling like things are running away from you, you can just write in your life story that it's turned, it's changed, and now everything comes to you. It's so much different than believing that it has to be so difficult for everything, right? This is a really good one. I'll just give you a few more and then we'll finish up with any questions you have about life story or anything, okay? I banished the past and now live in the wonderful now, where happy surprises come to me each day. Isn't that awesome? I now live in the wonderful now, where happy surprises come to me each day. There are no lost opportunities in divine mind. As one door shuts, another door opens. Okay, I think this next one is really one of my favorites. It says, I have a magical work in a magical way. I give magical service for magical pay. Is that awesome or what? Here, I'll read it again for you. I have a magical work in a magical way. I give magical service for magical pay. Okay, the genius within me is now released. I now fulfill my destiny. Everything in the universe, visible and invisible, is working to bring to me my own. Rhythm, harmony, and balance are now established in my mind, body, and affairs. And the way I would use these is I would just kind of sprinkle them through your life story. I would just put them in some places where you are writing what you want to have happen. And then I would throw in an affirmation like this, or put this affirmation at the beginning, because then it will help, shape the energy for everything else that you are writing down. It will help set the intention for your whole life story. New fields of divine activity now open for me, and these fields are ready for harvest. God's plan for me is permanent and cannot be budged. I am true to my heavenly vision. That's a good one too. My good flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever-increasing stream of success, happiness, and abundance. This is another good one. Giving precedes receiving, because we always talk about giving and receiving, right? There's giving and receiving. So if giving comes before receiving, my gifts to others precede God's gifts to me. That's a good one. Giving precedes receiving, and my gifts to others precede God's gifts to me. So every time, it just makes it's just something in your heart for being able to change how you feel about giving, right? Because if you know that every time you give something to someone, then God is going to give something to you. It's going to look different, right? You'll feel different about it. I am in perfect harmony with the working of the law. I stand aside and let infinite intelligence make easy and successful my way. Now just think about this. If in your business, how you have done your business in the past, if you are thinking about how you do your business, does it feel like this, or does this feel different to you? I am in perfect harmony with the working of the law. I stand aside and I let infinite intelligence make easy and successful my way. Because this means that if I am in perfect harmony, which is why I write it in my life story, because it will help bring me into perfect harmony with the thing that I am writing about. That means I can just stand aside and let infinite intelligence, which means God, make easy and successful my way, because I'm already in harmony with God's law, right? The ground I am on is holy ground. The ground I am on is successful ground. That's fun. What God has done for others, he can do for me and more. This one is, I really love this one too. I am as necessary to God as he is to me, for I am the channel to bring his plan to pass. And this affirmation is about our relationship with God, right? And how we create in partnership with God. We create through our words, but it happens throughout that partnership with God, using universal consciousness, which is God, with our own personalized, like we personalize that general energy by creating the vision that God puts in our imagination, right? The more we think about it, the more we think about God's vision for us, then that helps us. Like that's how we create in a partnership with God. Oh, there's so much more we could go into about this. So much more. It's the coolest thing ever. Okay. The warrior within me has already won. How awesome is that? Okay, here's a good one. I'm only going to give you a couple more and then we got to finish up. All that is mine by divine right is now released and reaches me in great avalanches of abundance. Do you guys know what avalanches are? In Utah, in the US, where we are from, it is snowing again. They have been waiting for the spring, for the snow to go away for a long time. It's been a very long winter. And last week they thought the spring was here. And then today they said, oh, it's snowing again. And I even heard someplace where they have snow that is 9 or 10 feet deep. And so that's what an avalanche means, when you have just so much snow, it just covers everything. And so that's what it's saying. All that is mine by divine right is now released and reaches me in great avalanches of abundance. How can we use that much abundance that we can just be covered 9 or 10 feet deep in abundance, right? Reaches me in great avalanches of abundance under grace in miraculous ways. My supply is endless and immediate and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. All channels are free and all doors fly open for my immediate and endless, divinely designed supply. I give thanks that the millions which are mine by divine right now pour in and pile up under grace in perfect ways. I am linked with an endless golden stream of prosperity which comes to me under grace in imperfect ways. I dwell in the house of abundance forever. My God is a God of plenty, and I now receive all that I desire or require and more. All right. So these are just some examples of some kinds of affirmations that you can write in your life story. And I suggest that you do, because that will make your life story even more powerful than just your own words, because you are setting intention. Remember, we talked a little bit about the power of intention and being specific about what you want to create, and how to do that with your mind, from the power of your mind. And so when we use these affirmations in our life story, it's just a way we can create a powerful intention on all of the other things that we will write in, that we will be adding to it. So does anyone have any questions about how to use affirmations or anything about your life story, or any other questions that you have? This is the question part of our meeting, and then we'll be finished. While we are waiting for questions, Christine, if you have thought of anything you want to add, you can also.
Thank you so much for being here today. It has been great. I just wanted Becky to talk more about the game of life. Like, once you know how to play the game of life, everything is just like that. So just something that I wanted to add on it is that you are a co-creator. Every time Becky is talking about creating your life story, just a reminder that you are a co-creator with God. Like, you create what you desire. So an example is that it also means you can do or have anything you can imagine, because the person responsible for any of these, it is you. You are the only person who is responsible for your life. So you can create the life you desire, or you can mess it up. That one is totally dependent on you. Number two, your beliefs creates your reality. Like, when you know the game of life, you know when you are doing it wrong or when you are doing it right. And that is why we as coaches, we are here to hold your hand. Like, you might be doing it wrong, not because you are doing it intentionally, it is because you don't know how to do it. And that is why you need to reach to us as coaches, so that we can hold your hands and guide you through. Like, you are a creator. How do you create your life? When you are writing your life story, you are creating the desires, anything that you desire. And that is the game of life. You just need to know how to play it. Your beliefs create your reality. Your beliefs. Believe that when you change your thinking, you change your life. So what kind of thinking have you been living on? So you just change. Like, for example, you are used to saying that. I'm too stressed on my job. So you just change it to, I do my job calmly and easily. You don't focus on the stress, because if you focus on the stress, then it is going to be stressful. So instead of saying, I'm too stressed on my job, I do my job calmly and easily. I never get promotion I deserve. So instead of saying that, say, I received the promotion I deserve. So there are just some things that you just need to fine tune. so to what you want. And then number 3, your feelings are the fuel. Like, how do you feel about this? Because the universe understands the language of feeling. What are you feeling? Like when you say, I'm rich, what beliefs comes in? How are you feeling? Like when you say I'm rich, what does your body feels like? How is it reacting? So we need to work on that, because the universe understands the language of beliefs and desires and dreams, worries. You might say I'm very rich, and then your body reacts differently. And number 4, whatever you say after I am. Becky has been talking to us about affirmation. And affirmation, when you are doing affirmation, I would rather do I am blessed, I am healthy. Because when you put the I am first, it becomes very, very powerful. Becky, continue. That was just a small thing I wanted to add on.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else have any questions? Where are you on your life story? Have you started to write it, or have you had a chance to put something down on paper yet? I know some of you are just starting. How can we help you with your life story? We will continue these trainings for a little while, and we'll just keep posting them. We are thinking of putting them in an app so that they will be easy to find.
So as you think about that, make sure that every morning when you wake up, like you are so grateful, like what are the 5 things you are grateful about the day, even before you face the day? What are you grateful for? And then in the evening, you have had your all day. In the evening, what are the 5 things? Like just start with 5. What are the 5 things you are feeling so grateful for today? The gratitude is the greatest key in the game of life.
That's right. And why? Why is gratitude important?
Because it opens up. Like when you're doing gratitude, it opens you up for more. If you are grateful for just few little things that they are coming in your life, that God is bringing your way, when you learn to identify those things, then God keeps bringing in more things for you to be grateful for. So learn to be grateful and give gratitude for everything.
Right, because it's the energy that your body is in, right? It's the feeling in your body. And sometimes when we feel like we don't have what we need, or we don't have enough, then if that is the vibration that our body is in, that is the energy our body is in, that we don't have enough, then we will create more of that, and we will have less and less, right? Because it's scarcity, right? And so gratitude is like the medicine for scarcity. It's the antidote. It's like if scarcity, or that feeling that you don't have enough, if that was poison, if that was a poison for you, and I want you to think of it as a poison for you. Like anytime you feel like you don't have what you need, or you don't have enough, I want you to pretend like that is poison, and now you have to take the medicine to cure you from the poison, and the medicine is gratitude. So think of something that you are grateful about, because it will chase away that feeling from your body that you don't have enough. And as soon as you shift, like the momentum swing from the football game we talked about, as soon as you shift the direction that you are thinking and feeling in your body, you will create different things in your life. Different things will come to you. Like instead of having it come to you that you don't have enough, now you will start to, I love how Christine says it, it opens it up. It opens it up because it gives you more room to receive more, because you are in a feeling of receiving, right? If you are in gratitude, you are receiving. And when you are in that feeling of receiving, you will receive more. So whenever you feel like you don't have, then I want you to immediately take the medicine for the poison of not having, and just make it so you are great. You think of the things you are grateful for, and it will cure you of that poison.
And sometimes it is good to keep a journal, like where you can write something like, I'm so grateful for today. I'm so grateful for the sunshine. I'm so grateful for the rain. I'm so grateful because of this amount. So when you are doing the gratitude, you might release like the negativity that is inside you when you are writing. You might find yourself like you are releasing some of the things. And during that time, it is easy for you to identify like, oh, did I just say that? Did I just say that? And then you can change immediately the statement, because when you are writing, it is easy for you to hear yourself speaking. So if you notice you have just said something negatively, it is easy for you to shift it to something positive.
Right, right. And you can also use gratitude. You can write gratitude in your life story as well. And I highly recommend that. You can just write in your life story, I am so grateful for this thing, even though in real life you haven't seen it yet, but you are putting yourself in that feeling that you already have it, that it's already done, it's already finished, it's already come into your life. So if that thing has already come to pass in your life, how will it feel for you? And how grateful will you feel for it? And then you imagine how grateful you will feel when that thing has come into your life. And then you write that in your life story. I am so grateful that this thing is now, has now come into my life, and this is what I am doing, and this is how it feels. And then you just write everything, present tense, first person in your journal. And I love what Christine said about journaling, just journaling gratitude, because it will help to release the feeling of scarcity. Awesome. Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Any questions? I think we don't have any questions for now. So we have been going for 1 hour, so I think we are good. You can continue your questions in our chat, and we'll be back with another training for next time. I think next time we will do another intro training and give more instructions on how to actually write your life story. So if you have any friends you want to invite, you can feel free to invite your friends to join for that introductory training. That will be next week. Feel free to share the link. Feel free to share the link, and we'll take it from there next week.
And for those in Kenya, take advantage of me while I'm still available. And for those outside the country, Ghana, Uganda, and other, if you really want to reach out to me, just contact me through WhatsApp. I'll always be available to help you in writing your life story, or if you have questions, I'm always available to support you. So kindly reach out.
And you can find her in our WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Yep. She's also she's also one of our coaches, so you can find her in the announcement group as well. Okay, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Great training. I hope that was helpful. I'm excited to see what things you are going to add to your life story to make it even more powerful for the things that you want. All right. And let us know if you have questions, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.